Hi, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to show you the machine that I use to sew my wigs. So first of all, I hope you are all well, and I know it's been a long time since I've been here. I've been quite busy, but hopefully I would have time to maybe video some of the projects that I work on or I get opportunity to work on. So today, as I said, I want to talk about the machine that I have here, and this one is Singer 1507. And as you can see, I've got the instructions here, and this is what I've been using for years. I think it must be at least what I'm talking about, at least 9-10 years since I've had this machine. Yeah, I mean, I've had it for quite a while, and initially I bought it to do alterations, because you know how if you have kids, every now and then they have broken this, broken that. So I bought it initially for it, and then I also wanted to learn how to sew fabric materials and stuff like that. But you know, it's a different story. You've got to learn how to cut the fabrics and all that stuff, and I never quite got to it. And I wanted to learn how to sew doll clothes or baby clothes and stuff like that, with African clothes. And I wanted to do so many things with this machine when I first bought it, but I've never really had the time for it and got to learn how to cut the fabric. And then, you know, that's another story, isn't it? It's not just sewing the fabric, it's also learning how to cut it, knowing how to cut it. And I tried it, but it never really went well for me, and I didn't keep up with it. So anyway, so this I think somebody asked a question a while ago, and long time ago actually, asking what kind of machine I can recommend for you to use. To be honest with you, I haven't used all the machine in this world to recommend what is best for you. I have been in the shops physically and seen different machines, like different types of Singer machine, and also you know, something called Brava, and a few others that I've seen on videos that I've seen on YouTube. It goes on to say that it doesn't really matter which one you buy, but I would ask you to think about, I mean, if you go to the shops or if you are buying this online, I would ask you to think about the you know, certain adjustment that the machine comes with. For example, the thread and different ways of threading, the stitches, should I say. Some of them are kind of like, this is more like manual. If you want to turn it, you manually do it. Some of them are more electrical or digital, and some of them are very, very sophisticated. Like the Brava one I've seen is quite sophisticated, and it comes with a whole lot of stuff. But this one basically gives you what you need, I think, for a beginner. And yes, I would recommend this machine because it's quite reliable. I mean, it's gone through quite some damage, but it still works for me. If I bring it a bit closer to you, you'll find that I have damaged it, messed it up a bit, but it still works. Like the foot presser, I have damaged it, but I have to find a way around it whenever I want to adjust it. I have damaged this one. It doesn't quite work, so I have to kind of like find my way around whenever I want to reverse thread and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, it still works, and it's quite beaten up, and I guess I could buy another one, but it's fine for me. I don't need to buy another one. It works okay for me. So for me, I think I learned the hard way to work with this machine, but eventually I got used to it, you know. But when I first bought it, I went to a friend of mine, and who knows how to sew, and they showed me quite the basic stuff, how to thread, you know, and all that stuff, and how to put the how to thread your needle and all that stuff. So for making wigs, what I do is sometimes I go to Asda in London. So there's a shop called Asda, and sometimes I can get my hands on some of these, and every time I see these I buy them. Not every time, but when I know I need them I buy them. And the reason why I'm always buying these is because for making wigs, now when you are making a wig, the way you adjust your thread and how you adjust your foot presser, and also the bobby pin case in the bottom here, how you adjust it has to be according to the fabric, the thickness of the fabric, and the thickness of your needle also has something to do with the thickness of your fabric, and even the thickness of your thread, or the kind of thread you want to buy, also has something to do with the thickness of your fabric, what you want to sew. Now we can all agree that if you have to sew with a wig cap, and also with the width of your hair, the width is quite thick, isn't it? So with that together with the on top of the wig cap, we can say that it's quite thick. So you want to adjust things the way that it will work for you. And if it's not quite right, if you're not using the right needle and the right thread, and how you adjust these and all that stuff, you'll find that it will break quite a lot. I've had that issues where sometimes, I had to learn the hard way. So when I buy these needles, I tend to use the thick ones. So you can see how I've used these thick ones for wigs. Now, if I end up using these little ones on my left hand side to, well, I'm just moving my left hand. So if I use this, sometimes it breaks if I'm doing wig sewing. If you want to do some alterations, these are okay, and then you would have to just make some adjustments here of your like the stitches and all that stuff, and then your bobby pin, and maybe the foot presser. So if you look at the manual, it will actually teach you why what I'm actually talking about. For example, it's recommending for traditional pin. I don't know if you can see this properly. It's recommending the length. I can't see properly either. The length of the stitch length, and the stitch width, and all that stuff. So it just gives you an idea of how to what kind of ways you can set these lot up. And if you go into the manual, it'll be able to tell you. You will learn quite a lot for the manual, and obviously sometimes videos works. Okay, very well. Now I buy my threads from I buy from eBay. I just search for it and I buy. I don't know if you got. It's kind of like quite thin, but not so. But I think it's cotton as well. And it's called the names and all that. Yeah, you can see it says black. Don't know if I have to cover this up to show you properly, but it says coats moon, and then it's got 120 black on there, and that's how I search for it when I'm searching it on eBay. I'm sure you can buy these lot from the shops, but sometimes if you are busy, you don't want to be running around to the shops and all that stuff. When I bought the sewing machine, they came with these sort of it's about 3 different sizes. That is what I'm holding in front, is probably the largest size. Then this is the smallest. This is the smallest size. I tend to use the smaller size more when I'm doing my wigs and cutting the wigs. Really, it comes in very handy. And there's, I think that's the largest size that I just showed you. So there's another size which isn't here with me. But now I'm going back to the threads. These are the kind of threads that you want to use for hand sewing. They are pretty thick, but they will not go well with these machines if you want to sew your wigs. Well, I think I've tried it before. You know, it would work for you if you want to use this. It's too thick. Yeah, so I mean that's the recommendation I would recommend. These, so they work pretty well for me. You could also use, I bought these threads to for alteration, but they do not work very well for wig making. So in case you are planning to buy some threads, I wouldn't recommend this because it's very thin and it's okay for fabrics, but I wouldn't recommend it for sewing. It's thinner than what I'm recommending here for wig sewing. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about, is that they are quite reliable. And I'm sure that if you go to the shops now, there will be newer versions, perhaps more sophisticated than this one. I don't know if in the near future I'll go and buy another one. If something works for me, I stick to it. I don't jump off. So if in the near future I want to buy something and maybe give this one away or something like that, I will probably buy more or less the same one, unless I go to the shops and someone takes their time to show me, or unless I go to YouTube or somewhere and get some better recommendations. They work pretty fine, so I think you will work fine with it. I'm sure you find a much more newer version than this one if you want to buy. So yes, I do recommend this machine. You know, it's quite basic. It's got everything you need. You can do your reverse sewing with that. You can set your stuff here. You can use the straight one. I don't tend to use the straight one more that often. I don't really use these other ones because, you know, I have to check the manual, and it's only for maybe sewing buttons and stuff like that in with fabrics. But I don't usually use the straight ones. I normally use these zig and zag ones. Is that this one? I don't know if you can view it very well. Let me see if I can get closer so you can. So I use these two zig and zags. So I use this one or that one to pretty much sew my wigs. I hope that in the near future I'll be able to do some sort of video or share with you any of the projects that I get along with. Here is the needle. That's the package of the needle that I was just talking about. You know, you get 10 in it, and I only get to use the big ones. That works well for me in terms of sewing wigs. That's pretty much what I wanted to share with you. Since I bought this, I've only changed the bobs. I've changed it twice already. So the other time I bought quite a package just in case I needed to sew, because it took me quite a while. I went around the shops and everything trying to find the right bobs for it. And so when I finally found, I think on eBay, the right bobs for it, I just bought quite a few. So I've got quite a few there to make sure that next time I don't go running around when I need it. It's there for me. And then I sometimes, what I do is I follow instructions on the machine. When you buy it, it comes with oil in here. So I think mine is pretty much finished and I need to go and find some and buy some. And if you follow the instructions, it will show you how to clean up. Nearly dropped my phone. How to clean up the machine with the brush and all that stuff. So that's when I open here and you take all these stuff out and you clean it up and all that stuff. Okay, so I think that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about, what machine I use for sewing. And I hope to, like I already said already, share with you next time. I want to do some sewing. So love you, and do take care of yourself and your family. And do continue using your face masks. You might think this thing is gone. It's not gone. I was sick a couple weeks ago, like I think 3 weeks ago. So do look after yourself and your family, and hope to see you soon. Thank you. Bye.